They called her the IT girl, until the night her code stopped a cyberattack that brought NORAD to its knees, turning a dismissed tech support specialist into the woman who saved America's early warning system from total collapse. Preparing and narrating this type of story took us long efforts and hard work. So if you are enjoying the story, please consider subscribing to our channel. The fluorescent lights of the Cheyenne Mountain Complex hummed their eternal song, casting harsh shadows across the cramped basement office where technical specialist Chen sat hunched over a decade-old computer terminal. The glow from her monitor was the only warm light in the sterile government workspace, illuminating her tired face as she typed line after line of diagnostic code. Outside, Colorado's Rocky Mountains stood sentinel in the pre-dawn darkness, but deep inside the mountain's reinforced heart, time seemed frozen in perpetual midnight. Sarah's fingers moved across the keyboard with practiced efficiency, her military training evident in every precise keystroke. The same hands that had once assembled communications equipment in the scorching heat of Afghanistan now navigated through mundane IT tickets that her colleagues had deemed too trivial for their attention. Printer jams, password resets, and software updates comprised the bulk of her daily routine, a far cry from the complex cybersecurity work she had performed during her 8 years of active duty in the Army's Signal Corps. The irony wasn't lost on her that despite holding advanced certifications in network security and having designed encryption protocols that were still classified, she was relegated to what the other technicians mockingly called grunt work. Her supervisor, a perpetually stressed man named Director Harrison Mills, had made it clear during her first week that military experience didn't automatically translate to civilian competence. The fact that she was one of only 3 women in the entire IT department seemed to amplify every mistake and minimize every success. Her current assignment involved updating security patches on workstations throughout the complex, a task that required her to physically visit each terminal and manually install updates. It was tedious work that could have been automated, but NORAD's security protocols demanded human verification for every modification to their systems. As she worked, Sarah's mind wandered to the cybersecurity courses she took online during her off hours, studying the latest threat detection methodologies and advanced persistent threat patterns that kept evolving in the digital landscape. Basement office she occupied was officially designated as Auxiliary IT Support Station C, though everyone simply called it the bunker. The windowless room contained 6 workstations, 3 of which hadn't functioned properly in months, surrounded by towers of outdated equipment manuals and boxes of spare cables that predated most social media platforms. The air conditioning unit wheezed constantly, creating a white noise backdrop that made normal conversation difficult. Sarah had grown accustomed to the isolation, using the quiet environment to focus on her work and continue her education through online learning platforms. Her colleagues upstairs in the main IT operations center referred to her as the IT girl, with a combination of condescension and dismissal that never failed to sting. The nickname had started during her first month when she had corrected a senior technician's misdiagnosis of a network configuration issue. Instead of acknowledging her expertise, the team had latched onto her gender and relative newcomer status, treating her contributions as lucky guesses rather than informed analysis. The label had stuck, following her through hallways and meetings like an unwelcome shadow. Sarah's military record told a different story than her current circumstances suggested. During her deployment in Kandahar, she had been responsible for maintaining secure communications networks that connected forward operating bases across 3 provinces. Her innovations in signal encryption had earned commendations from her commanding officers and had been adopted throughout her brigade. She had trained Afghan military personnel in cybersecurity basics, developed countermeasures against improvised electronic warfare devices, and had successfully defended critical infrastructure against multiple cyberattacks launched by hostile forces. The transition to civilian life had been more challenging than she had anticipated. Despite her clearance, level and technical expertise, finding employment that matched her skills had proven difficult. Many private sector positions required certifications that didn't directly translate from military experience, while others seemed to view her service as irrelevant to modern cybersecurity challenges. NORAD had offered stability and the opportunity to continue serving her country, even if the role felt like a significant step backward from her previous responsibilities. Her workstation displayed a queue of 47 pending tickets, ranging from mouse replacements to software compatibility issues. Each ticket had been assigned a priority level, with most falling into the routine maintenance category that justified her assignment to the basement office. The more complex cybersecurity tasks were handled by the primary IT team, who worked in the climate-controlled operations center 3 floors above her current location. Sarah had submitted numerous requests to transfer to the cybersecurity division, but each application had been politely declined with vague references to experience requirements and team composition considerations. The coffee maker in the corner of her office gurgled to life, programmed to start brewing at 05:00 hours every morning. Sarah had developed a routine over the past 18 months that helped her maintain focus and productivity despite the monotonous nature of her assignments. She would arrive at 04:30, review the overnight system logs for anomalies, prepare her equipment for the day's rounds, and begin her circuit through the complex's various departments. The routine provided structure and allowed her to observe the broader operations of NORAD, even from her peripheral position. Her personal laptop, carefully positioned to avoid security cameras, displayed code she had been working on during her break time. The program was designed to analyze network traffic patterns and identify potential security vulnerabilities before they could be exploited by hostile actors. It represented hundreds of hours of development work, incorporating lessons learned from her military experience and advanced techniques she had studied through online courses. The project remained unofficial, as her current role didn't include development responsibilities, but she continued refining the algorithms as a personal challenge. The stark contrast between her current environment and her previous military installations was evident in every detail of the basement office, where her Army workspace had been equipped with cutting-edge technology and staffed by specialists who respected her expertise. NORAD's auxiliary IT station felt like a technological backwater. The irony that one of the world's most advanced defense installations relegated critical IT support to outdated equipment and minimal staffing wasn't lost on her. She understood the security reasoning behind compartmentalization, but the inefficiency frustrated her professional sensibilities. Her phone buzzed with a text message from her younger brother Marcus, a software engineer in Silicon Valley who regularly sent her job postings that promised better pay and recognition for her skills. Each opportunity represented a potential escape from her current situation, but Sarah remained committed to her government service. The work mattered, even if her contributions weren't acknowledged, and she believed that her unique perspective as a combat veteran could benefit the nation's cybersecurity efforts if given the proper opportunity. The morning's first round of security updates would take her through 17 different departments, each requiring careful documentation and verification procedures. As she gathered her equipment bag and prepared to leave the basement office, Sarah caught her reflection in the black computer screen. The woman looking back at her wore the same determined expression that had carried her through boot camp, deployment, and every challenge she had faced since leaving the military. Today would be another day of routine maintenance and administrative tasks, but she approached it with the same professionalism that had defined her military career. Her security badge, worn on a retractable cord clipped to her belt, bore her official title and clearance level, but told nothing of her journey from small-town Oregon to the heart of America's defense establishment. The photograph showed a confident young woman in military dress uniform, taken shortly before her discharge from active duty. 2 years later, that same woman was preparing to spend another day in the technological shadows, maintaining systems while dreaming of opportunities to apply her expertise to the challenges that truly mattered. The elevator that would carry her from the basement to the main complex required her security card and biometric verification, a reminder of the sensitive environment she worked within despite her peripheral role. As the doors closed and the familiar mechanical hum began, Sarah reviewed her mental checklist for the day ahead. 17 departments, 47 tickets, countless opportunities to prove her worth to an organization that seemed determined to overlook her potential. She had learned patience during her military service, but her ambition remained undimmed by bureaucratic obstacles or professional dismissal. The security alert that would change everything began as a subtle anomaly in the overnight system logs that Sarah noticed during her routine morning review. At 0347 hours, Mountain Standard Time, a series of authentication requests had been logged from terminals that should have been dormant, scattered across 3 different security zones within the complex. The pattern was so slight that it would have been invisible to automated monitoring systems, but Sarah's trained eye caught the irregularity immediately. Years of analyzing communication intercepts in Afghanistan had taught her to recognize when something didn't belong, even when that something was designed to blend seamlessly into normal operations. Her first instinct was to cross-reference the anomalous activity with scheduled maintenance windows and authorized access logs. The terminals in question were located in the Strategic Communications Center, the Threat Assessment Division, and the Command Operations Center, all areas that required the highest level of security clearance. Sarah's access to these logs was limited by her position, but she could see enough to confirm that no authorized personnel had been scheduled to work in those locations during the timestamps in question. The authentication requests had been successful, suggesting that whoever was responsible possessed legitimate credentials. The elevator carried her from the basement to the main complex, where the morning shift change was already underway. Personnel moved through the corridors with the purposeful efficiency that characterized military installations, their conversations muted by the serious nature of their work. Sarah's route to her first scheduled maintenance stop took her past the Strategic Communications Center, where she paused to observe the activity level through the reinforced glass windows. The center appeared to be operating normally, with duty officers monitoring their assigned stations and communications, flowing according to standard protocols. Her first official stop was the Personnel Administration Office, where 3 workstations required security updates. The administrator, a civilian contractor named Janet Morrison, greeted Sarah with the polite distance that had become familiar over the past 18 months. While installing the updates, Sarah mentioned the unusual authentication activity she had observed, framing her concern in terms of routine security verification. Janet's response was dismissive, suggesting that the activity was probably related to system maintenance or early arrivals by dedicated staff members. The conversation troubled Sarah as she moved to her next assignment in the Logistics Coordination Center. Her military experience had taught her that security anomalies, no matter how minor they appeared, deserved investigation rather than casual dismissal. The culture at NORAD seemed to prioritize operational continuity over security vigilance, a perspective that made sense during normal operations, but could prove dangerous if the installation faced a genuine threat. As she worked through the logistics center's update requirements, Sarah found herself paying closer attention to the personnel around her, noting their movements and access patterns. Dr. Elizabeth Warren, the chief of cybersecurity operations, arrived at the logistics center while Sarah was completing her work. Warren was a formidable figure within the complex, holding advanced degrees in computer science and information security, with a reputation for maintaining the highest standards of digital defense. Her interaction with Sarah was brief but professional. acknowledging the technical specialist's work without the condescension that characterized most exchanges with other department heads. Sarah seized the opportunity to mention her observations about the unusual authentication activity, presenting her findings in technical terms that demonstrated her analytical capabilities. Warren's reaction was more receptive than Sarah had expected. Rather than dismissing the concern, the cybersecurity chief asked detailed questions about the timing, location, and nature of the anomalous activity. Her probing revealed that Sarah had been conducting unauthorized analysis of system logs, a practice that technically violated her access protocols, but demonstrated initiative that Warren found intriguing. The conversation ended with Warren requesting that Sarah document her observations in a formal report, the first time anyone in the complex had asked for her professional opinion on a security matter. The third stop on Sarah's morning route was the Command Operations Center, the nerve center of NORAD's Continental Defense Mission. The massive room contained dozens of workstations arranged in concentric circles around central displays that showed real-time tracking of aircraft, missiles, and potential threats across North American airspace. The scale and sophistication of the operation never failed to impress Sarah, reminding her of the critical importance of the work being conducted within the mountain complex. Her assignment here involved updating communication software on backup workstations that were rarely used but needed to maintain operational readiness. While working at one of the backup stations, Sarah noticed unusual network traffic on the monitoring displays. Data packets were moving through the system in patterns that didn't match normal operational flows, suggesting that additional processes were running in the background. The activity was subtle enough to avoid triggering automatic alerts, but her experience with network analysis allowed her to recognize the signs of unauthorized data access. Someone or something was systematically probing the command center's databases, extracting information in small increments to avoid detection. Colonel James Mitchell, the Operations Center's commanding officer, was conducting his morning briefing when Sarah approached to report her observations. Mitchell was a career Air Force officer with extensive experience in aerospace defense, known for his attention to detail and intolerance for security lapses. Sarah's interruption of the briefing was a breach of protocol that could have resulted in disciplinary action, but the urgency of her discovery outweighed concerns about proper procedure. Mitchell listened to her technical explanation with growing interest, his expression shifting from annoyance to serious concern as she detailed the pattern of unauthorized access. The briefing room fell silent as Sarah presented her evidence using the main display screens. Her analysis showed a sophisticated pattern of data extraction that had been ongoing for several hours, targeting specific databases containing tactical information about North American air defense capabilities. The attack was using legitimate credentials to avoid detection, suggesting that the perpetrators had compromised high-level access accounts or had inside knowledge of NORAD's security protocols. The implications were staggering, as the stolen information could be used to identify vulnerabilities in continental defense systems. Mitchell's response was immediate and decisive. He ordered an immediate security lockdown of the operations center and initiated protocols for potential cyber intrusion. The briefing room transformed into a crisis management center as staff officers began implementing emergency procedures and contacting cybersecurity specialists. Sarah found herself at the center of the response, providing technical details about the intrusion patterns and suggesting methods for tracking the data extraction process. For the first time since arriving at NORAD, her expertise was not only acknowledged but desperately needed. Dr. Warren arrived within minutes of Mitchell's alert, bringing with her a team of cybersecurity specialists who immediately began analyzing the network activity that Sarah had identified. The investigation quickly revealed that the intrusion was far more extensive than initially apparent, with unauthorized access occurring across multiple systems throughout the complex. The attackers had been present in NORAD's networks for an unknown period, systematically mapping the installation's digital infrastructure and extracting sensitive information about defense capabilities and operational procedures. The crisis escalated rapidly as the scope of the breach became apparent. Communication links with other military installations were showing signs of compromise, suggesting that the attack extended beyond NORAD to encompass broader defense networks. Sarah's discovery had uncovered what appeared to be a coordinated assault on America's military infrastructure, executed with a level of sophistication that indicated state-level resources and planning. The attackers had demonstrated knowledge of classified security protocols and had exploited vulnerabilities that should have been known only to authorized personnel. Sarah's role in the crisis response evolved from observer to active participant, as her analytical skills proved essential for understanding the attack methodology. Her unique combination of military experience and technical expertise allowed her to interpret the intrusion patterns in ways that traditional cybersecurity analysts missed. She could recognize the tactical thinking behind the attack strategy, understanding how military operations influenced the timing and targeting of the digital assault. Her insights were proving invaluable for developing countermeasures and predicting the attackers' next moves. The command center's atmosphere had transformed from routine operations to crisis management, with personnel working frantically to assess the damage and implement defensive measures. Sarah found herself working alongside senior officers and cybersecurity specialists, her input valued equally despite her junior position and dismissive treatment by colleagues just hours earlier. The situation demanded expertise over hierarchy, and her demonstrated capabilities were earning respect that had been denied during months of routine assignments. As the morning progressed and the full scope of the cyber attack became clear, Sarah realized that her chance observation of unusual authentication activity had uncovered a threat that could have compromised America's entire early warning system. The implications were sobering, as successful penetration of NORAD's networks could have provided hostile actors with detailed intelligence about continental defense capabilities. Her decision to investigate the anomaly, despite her limited authority, and the risk of protocol violations, had potentially prevented a catastrophic security breach. The crisis was far from over, with cybersecurity teams working desperately to contain the intrusion and prevent further data theft. Sarah's expertise would be crucial for the challenges ahead, as her understanding of both military operations and advanced cyber threats positioned her uniquely to help defend against an attack that threatened the very foundation of American national security. The woman who had been dismissed as the IT girl was about to prove that sometimes the most important discoveries come from the most unexpected sources. The gravity of Sarah's discovery became undeniable as Dr. Warren's cybersecurity team confirmed the sophisticated nature of the breach. In the secure analysis room adjacent to the Command Operations Center, multiple screens displayed cascading data streams that revealed the true scope of the intrusion. Sarah watched as her initial observation of unusual authentication patterns evolved into evidence of a coordinated assault on multiple defense networks. The attackers had established persistent backdoors in critical systems, created shadow administrator accounts, and implemented data exfiltration protocols that had been operating undetected for weeks. Sarah's military background suddenly became relevant in ways her civilian colleagues couldn't fully appreciate. Her experience analyzing enemy communication patterns in Afghanistan had taught her to think like an adversary, understanding how hostile forces planned and executed complex operations. As she studied the attack vectors displayed on the analysis screens, she recognized tactical elements that suggested military-level planning and execution. The intrusion wasn't the work of opportunistic hackers or financially motivated criminals. It bore the hallmarks of a state-sponsored operation designed to compromise America's strategic defense capabilities. Dr. Warren pulled Sarah aside as the cybersecurity team continued their assessment. The conversation that followed would mark a turning point in how the complex's leadership viewed the young veteran's capabilities. Warren had reviewed Sarah's military records and discovered commendations for cybersecurity innovations that had saved lives during active combat operations. The disconnect between Sarah's demonstrated expertise and her current assignment troubled the cybersecurity chief, who realized that bureaucratic inertia had relegated a valuable asset to menial tasks while critical threats went undetected. The technical analysis revealed layers of sophistication that impressed even seasoned cybersecurity professionals. The attackers had used legitimate system administration tools to mask their activities, exploiting trust relationships between different network segments to expand their access gradually. Sarah recognized the methodology from advanced persistent threat case studies she had analyzed during her online education. More importantly, she understood how the military mindset influenced the attacker's approach to target prioritization and operational security. Her insights were helping the response team anticipate the adversary's next moves. Colonel Mitchell convened an emergency leadership meeting that included department heads who rarely acknowledged Sarah's existence. The conference room filled with senior officers, civilian administrators, and technical specialists as the scope of the crisis became clear to NORAD's leadership. Sarah found herself seated at the table alongside individuals who outranked her by multiple levels, her presence justified by her unique role in discovering and analyzing the breach. The transformation from invisible support technician to critical team member was surreal but necessary given the circumstances. The briefing revealed that the cyberattack extended far beyond NORAD, affecting multiple military installations across North America. Communication intercepts suggested that the attackers possessed detailed knowledge of defense network architectures and had specifically targeted vulnerabilities in inter-base communication protocols. Sarah's analysis of the network traffic patterns provided crucial intelligence about the attacker's methodology and objectives. Her ability to interpret the technical evidence in military terms helped senior officers understand the strategic implications of the breach. General Patricia Hawkins, NORAD's commanding officer, listened intently as Sarah presented her assessment of the intrusion patterns. The general's questions demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of cybersecurity challenges facing modern military installations. Sarah's responses drew upon her combat experience and technical training, providing insights that bridged the gap between operational requirements and cybersecurity realities. The exchange marked the first time since arriving at NORAD that Sarah felt her expertise was truly valued by the organization's leadership. The investigation uncovered evidence that the attackers had infiltrated NORAD's networks through a carefully orchestrated social engineering campaign targeting civilian contractors. Phishing emails containing sophisticated malware had been sent to personnel with administrative access, exploiting trust relationships and security protocols that assumed internal users were trustworthy. Sarah's analysis revealed how the attackers had leveraged their initial foothold to escalate privileges and expand their access throughout the network infrastructure. Dr. Warren assigned Sarah to work directly with the cybersecurity response team, formally recognizing her contributions to the investigation. The assignment represented a dramatic elevation in responsibility and authority, though it came during one of the most serious security crises in NORAD's history. Sarah's new colleagues included some of the most experienced cybersecurity professionals in the defense establishment, individuals whose expertise she had admired from afar during her months in the basement office. Working alongside them provided validation that her skills were genuinely valuable rather than merely adequate for routine maintenance tasks. The attacker's sophistication became more apparent as the investigation progressed. They had implemented multiple redundant access methods, ensuring that closing one avenue of intrusion wouldn't eliminate their presence in the network. Sarah recognized the approach from military doctrine about maintaining multiple lines of communication and retreat routes during complex operations. Her insights helped the response team identify hidden backdoors and persistent threats that might have remained undetected using conventional cybersecurity methodologies. Sarah's unique perspective proved particularly valuable when analyzing the attacker's target selection patterns. While her colleagues focused on technical vulnerabilities and system compromises, she recognized the operational intelligence that guided the adversary's choices. The stolen data wasn't randomly selected but carefully curated to provide maximum strategic value to hostile forces. Understanding the military rationale behind the target selection helped the response team prioritize their defensive efforts and predict likely future attack vectors. The Crisis Management Center established in the Command Operations Center became Sarah's new workspace as the investigation expanded. Banks of computers displayed real-time network monitoring data, threat intelligence feeds, and communication intercepts from intelligence agencies, coordinating the response to the breach. Sarah found herself at the center of a multi-agency effort that included representatives from the NSA, FBI, and Department of Defense cybersecurity divisions. Her role evolved from local troubleshooter to national security asset as her insights proved relevant to the broader investigation. Communication with affected military installations revealed that the cyber attack was part of a coordinated campaign targeting America's integrated defense networks. Sarah's analysis helped identify common attack vectors and shared infrastructure, vulnerabilities that the adversaries had exploited across multiple targets. Her ability to correlate seemingly unrelated technical indicators with operational patterns provided intelligence that proved crucial for understanding the scope and objectives of the hostile operation. The investigation uncovered evidence that the attackers had been conducting reconnaissance activities for months before launching their active intrusion campaign. Sarah's review of historical network logs identified subtle anomalies that had been overlooked by automated monitoring systems and routine security audits. Her detective work revealed a patient, methodical approach to intelligence gathering that demonstrated sophisticated operational planning and deep knowledge of defense network architectures. As the day progressed, Sarah's transformation from dismissed technician to valued analyst became complete. Senior officers who had never acknowledged her presence were now seeking her opinions on critical security decisions. Dr. Warren privately admitted that the cybersecurity division had underestimated Sarah's capabilities and committed to ensuring that such talent wouldn't be wasted in the future. The crisis had revealed not only external threats to national security, but also internal failures to recognize and utilize available expertise. The magnitude of the cyber attack demanded resources and expertise that exceeded NORAD's internal capabilities. Federal cybersecurity agencies deployed rapid response teams to assist with the investigation and remediation efforts. Sarah found herself briefing senior agents and analysts about her discoveries, providing technical details that informed the national response to what was being characterized as one of the most serious cyber espionage operations in recent history. Her role in uncovering the threat ensured that her insights would influence cybersecurity policies and procedures far beyond the Cheyenne Mountain complex. The attackers' methodology revealed sophisticated understanding of military communication protocols and operational security procedures. Sarah's analysis suggested that the adversaries possessed inside knowledge of defense network architectures that could only have been obtained through extensive intelligence gathering or insider access. The implications were disturbing, as they suggested either long-term penetration of defense networks or compromise of personnel with high-level security clearances. Her assessment helped guide the investigation toward identifying potential security breaches that extended beyond technical vulnerabilities. Sarah's emergence as a key figure in the crisis response demonstrated the value of diverse perspectives. In cybersecurity operations, her combination of military experience and technical expertise provided insights that traditional cybersecurity specialists missed. The recognition of her contributions marked a turning point not only in her career, but also in NORAD's approach to identifying and developing talent within its ranks. The woman who had been relegated to routine maintenance was now helping defend America's most critical defense networks against sophisticated, state-sponsored threats. The resistance to Sarah's involvement came swiftly and predictably from quarters. She had learned to expect opposition. Director Harrison Mills, her immediate supervisor, arrived at the Crisis Management Center with barely contained frustration etched across his weathered face. His objections were immediate and pointed, delivered with the bureaucratic precision of someone who had spent decades navigating government hierarchies. Mills argued that Sarah lacked the proper credentials and clearance levels to participate in such a sensitive investigation, despite the fact that her security clearance actually exceeded that of several other team members. Mills's opposition wasn't merely procedural. It reflected deeper institutional biases that had relegated Sarah to basement assignments despite her qualifications. His arguments centered on chain-of-command protocols and established procedures, suggesting that bypassing normal channels would set dangerous precedents for future operations. The confrontation played out in front of senior officers and cybersecurity specialists who were witnessing firsthand the bureaucratic obstacles that had prevented Sarah's talents from being properly utilized. Mills's insistence on following standard protocols seemed particularly tone-deaf, given the extraordinary nature of the crisis unfolding around them. Dr. Warren found herself defending Sarah's inclusion in ways that highlighted the institutional failures that had nearly cost them this critical intelligence. Warren's counter-arguments emphasized results over credentials, pointing out that Sarah's insights had already proven more valuable than months of conventional security monitoring. The exchange revealed fundamental disagreements about how expertise should be recognized and utilized within the defense establishment. Warren's support for Sarah wasn't merely professional courtesy. It represented a broader challenge to systems that prioritized formal qualifications over demonstrated capability. The skepticism extended beyond Mills to include several civilian contractors and military officers who questioned Sarah's rapid elevation from support technician to cybersecurity analyst. Their concerns were voiced in hushed conversations during brief breaks in the crisis response, reflecting uncertainty about whether Sarah's contributions were genuinely valuable or simply coincidental discoveries that any competent technician might have made. The whispered doubts created an undercurrent of tension that threatened to undermine confidence in Sarah's analysis. Just when her insights were most needed, Colonel Mitchell's intervention proved decisive in resolving the credentials controversy. His military background provided him with understanding of how combat situations could reveal capabilities that peacetime assignments obscured. Mitchell's endorsement of Sarah carried weight not only because of his rank, but also because of his reputation for making sound tactical decisions under pressure. His public support for Sarah's continued involvement sent a clear message about merit-based decision-making that resonated throughout the crisis management team. The technical challenges Sarah faced were compounded by the social dynamics of working with colleagues who had previously dismissed her contributions. Several cybersecurity specialists struggled to accept insights from someone they had categorized as unqualified support personnel. Their reluctance to collaborate effectively created communication barriers that could have compromised the investigation's effectiveness. Sarah found herself having to prove her competence repeatedly, with each suggestion scrutinized more heavily than similar recommendations from more established team members. Sarah's response to the resistance demonstrated the resilience and adaptability that had served her well during military deployment. Rather than becoming defensive about the challenges to her authority, She focused on delivering results that spoke louder than credentials or institutional politics. Her approach emphasized collaboration over confrontation, seeking ways to contribute effectively while allowing skeptical colleagues to save face. The strategy reflected lessons learned during her military service about building trust in high-stress environments where lives depended on effective teamwork. The breakthrough that silenced most remaining skeptics came when Sarah identified a critical vulnerability that had been overlooked by conventional analysis methods. Her review of network traffic patterns revealed that the attackers were using a sophisticated technique called living off the land, employing legitimate system tools in unauthorized ways that avoided triggering traditional security alerts. The discovery required deep understanding of both cybersecurity principles and military operational methods, validating her unique qualifications for the investigation. Her analysis revealed that the attackers had weaponized Windows PowerShell and other administrative tools to conduct reconnaissance and data exfiltration activities that appeared legitimate to automated monitoring systems. The technique was particularly insidious because it exploited trust relationships built into network architectures, using the system's own tools against itself. Sarah's recognition of the methodology drew upon her experience with similar techniques used by hostile forces in Afghanistan, where adversaries had learned to exploit American technology and procedures. The tactical implications of Sarah's discovery extended far beyond NORAD's immediate crisis. Her analysis suggested that the attackers possessed sophisticated understanding of American military cybersecurity practices and had developed countermeasures specifically designed to exploit common defensive strategies. The intelligence value of her insights prompted immediate consultation with national cybersecurity agencies, who were dealing with similar intrusions across the defense establishment. Her local discovery had revealed patterns with strategic significance for national security. Dr. Warren publicly acknowledged Sarah's contribution during a briefing that included senior military and civilian leadership. The recognition was carefully crafted to address the credibility challenges Sarah had faced while emphasizing the value of diverse perspectives in cybersecurity operations. Warren's endorsement carried particular weight because of her own reputation for maintaining rigorous standards and her initial skepticism about unconventional approaches to threat analysis. The public validation helped establish Sarah's credibility with team members who had questioned her qualifications. The investigation uncovered evidence that the attackers had specifically studied American military cybersecurity doctrine and had tailored their approach to exploit identified weaknesses. Sarah's analysis revealed that the adversaries understood not only technical vulnerabilities, but also organizational and procedural limitations that could be exploited to maintain persistent access. Her insights helped the response team understand that they were facing opponents who had invested significant resources in understanding and countering American defensive capabilities. Sarah's emergence as a credible voice in the investigation created ripple effects throughout NORAD's organizational structure. Personnel who had worked alongside her in routine capacities began reassessing their assumptions about talent recognition and career development within the complex. Her transformation from overlooked technician to critical analyst demonstrated that valuable expertise could be hidden within existing staff, waiting for opportunities to be properly utilized. The lesson resonated particularly strongly with younger personnel, who had felt constrained by rigid hierarchical structures. The resistance Sarah encountered also revealed deeper issues about how the defense establishment identified and developed cybersecurity talent. Her experience highlighted gaps between formal training programs and the practical skills needed to address sophisticated threats. The crisis demonstrated that effective cybersecurity required diverse backgrounds and perspectives that traditional recruitment and development programs might overlook. Her success challenged assumptions about optimal career paths and qualification requirements for sensitive positions. The evolving dynamics within the crisis management team reflected broader changes in how modern military operations integrated different types of expertise. Sarah's inclusion marked a shift toward more flexible approaches to talent utilization that prioritized results over conventional credentials. Her contributions helped establish precedents for recognizing value in unconventional backgrounds and experience sets. The changes represented evolution in military culture that acknowledged the complex nature of contemporary security challenges. Military leadership began recognizing that cybersecurity threats required responses that transcended traditional organizational boundaries and role definitions. Sarah's success demonstrated the value of cross-functional collaboration and the importance of maintaining open communication channels that allowed critical information to flow regardless of formal hierarchies. Her experience became a case study in adaptive leadership and organizational learning under crisis conditions. The investigation revealed that effective cyber defense required a combination of technical expertise, operational understanding, and intuitive threat recognition that couldn't be easily codified in training programs or procedural manuals. Sarah's background provided her with a unique combination of skills that proved essential for understanding and countering the sophisticated attack they were facing. Her success validated approaches to talent development that emphasized diverse experience and cross-functional competency over narrow specialization. As the crisis response evolved, Sarah found herself working with federal agencies and military commands that were dealing with related intrusions across the defense network. Her insights were being incorporated into broader threat assessments and defensive strategies that would influence national cybersecurity policies. The recognition of her contributions at the national level provided definitive proof of her value that silenced remaining skeptics and established her credibility beyond dispute. The transformation of Sarah's role from dismissed technician to respected analyst demonstrated the importance of maintaining open organizational cultures that could recognize and utilize talent regardless of its source. Her success proved that expertise could emerge from unexpected places and that effective leadership required willingness to challenge conventional assumptions about competency and qualification. The lessons learned during the crisis would influence NORAD's approach to talent management and professional development for years to come. The opportunity to demonstrate her capabilities came when the cybersecurity team encountered a sophisticated encryption scheme that had stymied their initial analysis efforts. The attackers had implemented a custom cryptographic protocol that didn't match any known standards, suggesting either original development or modification of existing algorithms. To avoid detection by conventional security tools, Sarah's examination of the encrypted data streams revealed patterns that reminded her of field-expedient communication protocols she had encountered during counterintelligence operations in Afghanistan, where hostile forces often created hybrid encryption methods to confuse American signals. Intelligence efforts. Her approach to cracking the encryption demonstrated methodology that differed significantly from her colleagues' traditional cybersecurity training. While the established team members focused on mathematical analysis and brute force computational approaches, Sarah began by studying the operational context surrounding the encrypted communications. Her military experience had taught her that encryption choices often reflected tactical considerations and resource constraints that could provide insights into the adversary's capabilities and limitations. The behavioral analysis approach proved remarkably effective at identifying weaknesses that purely technical methods had missed. Working at a secure terminal in the Crisis Management Center, Sarah began reverse engineering the encryption algorithm. By analyzing communication timing patterns and data structure variations, her process involved creating detailed maps of when encrypted messages were transmitted, correlating them with known operational activities within NORAD's network, and identifying relationships between message content and organizational responses. The methodology required patience and intuitive understanding of how military operations influenced communication patterns, skills that her deployment experience had honed to exceptional levels. The breakthrough came when Sarah recognized that the encryption algorithm incorporated elements designed to mimic legitimate military communication protocols. The attackers had studied classified encryption standards and had created a hybrid system that would appear normal to automated monitoring systems while providing secure communication channels for their operations. Her identification of the deception required deep knowledge of both current and historical military cryptographic practices, understanding that only someone with extensive signals intelligence background would possess. Dr. Warren observed Sarah's analytical process with growing appreciation for the unique perspective she brought to the investigation. The methodical approach Sarah employed differed markedly from conventional cybersecurity analysis, incorporating elements of intelligence analysis, operational planning, and behavioral psychology that weren't typically emphasized in civilian training programs. Warren began documenting Sarah's techniques for potential incorporation into future training curricula, recognizing that the hybrid military-civilian approach could enhance the effectiveness of cybersecurity operations across the defense establishment. Sarah's decryption efforts revealed communications between multiple cells of attackers who were coordinating their activities across different military installations simultaneously. The intercepted messages provided unprecedented insight into the scope and coordination of the cyber assault, revealing that NORAD was just one target in a comprehensive campaign designed to map and potentially compromise America's entire integrated defense network. The intelligence value of the decrypted communications prompted immediate escalation to national security agencies who were tracking related activities. Across multiple government sectors, the decrypted messages contained references to operational timelines and target priorities that aligned with Sarah's earlier assessment of the attacker's military-style planning approach. Her analysis revealed that the cyber assault was being conducted in phases, with initial reconnaissance followed by systematic penetration of high-value targets and culminating in coordinated data exfiltration operations. The phased approach reflected sophisticated operational planning that required significant resources and coordination capabilities, typically associated with state-sponsored activities. Colonel Mitchell requested a detailed briefing on Sarah's decryption methodology, recognizing its potential applications for broader defensive operations. Sarah's presentation emphasized the importance of understanding adversary psychology and operational doctrine when analyzing cyber threats, arguing that technical countermeasures alone were insufficient against sophisticated state-sponsored attacks. Her recommendations included developing analytical frameworks that incorporated military operational principles into cybersecurity assessment processes, bridging gaps between traditional security approaches and modern threat realities. The success of Sarah's decryption efforts prompted Dr. Warren to formally request her temporary assignment to the Cybersecurity Division, bypassing normal personnel procedures due to the critical nature of the ongoing crisis. The assignment represented official recognition of Sarah's value that transcended bureaucratic obstacles and established precedent for merit-based personnel decisions during emergency situations. Warren's request was supported by detailed documentation of Sarah's contributions and recommendations for permanent reassignment following resolution of the immediate crisis. Sarah's analysis of the decrypted communications revealed that the attackers possessed detailed knowledge of NORAD's organizational structure, personnel assignments, and operational procedures that suggested either extensive intelligence gathering or insider access. The implications were disturbing, as they indicated that the cyber assault was supported by comprehensive human intelligence operations that had been ongoing for extended periods. Her assessment prompted immediate security reviews and counterintelligence investigations to identify potential compromise of personnel or information systems. The tactical intelligence contained in the intercepted messages provided crucial insights into the attacker's next planned phases of operation. Sarah's analysis indicated that the adversaries intended to escalate their activities during upcoming military exercises when communication volumes would increase and security attention might be focused on operational rather than cybersecurity concerns. Her warning allowed defensive planners to prepare countermeasures and enhanced monitoring protocols that could disrupt the attacker's operational timeline. Working closely with NSA cryptanalysts who had been deployed to assist with the investigation, Sarah found her insights validated by specialists with decades of experience in signals, intelligence, and code-breaking operations. The collaboration provided professional validation that her unconventional approach to encryption analysis had genuine value beyond the immediate crisis. The NSA representatives expressed interest in her techniques and recommended her for advanced training programs that could enhance her already considerable capabilities. Preparing and narrating this type of story took us long efforts and hard work. So if you are enjoying this story, please consider subscribing to our channel. The investigation revealed that the attackers had developed custom malware tools specifically designed to exploit vulnerabilities in military communication protocols and defense network architectures. Sarah's analysis of the malware code revealed programming techniques and operational features that reflected deep understanding of American military cybersecurity practices. Her assessment suggested that the development team included individuals with extensive knowledge of defense systems and possibly direct experience with military communication networks. Sarah's growing reputation within the crisis response team led to additional responsibilities that expanded her influence over defensive strategy and countermeasure development. Her recommendations were being incorporated into broader security protocols that would affect multiple military installations and government agencies. The transformation from peripheral support technician to central figure in national cybersecurity operations demonstrated the dramatic impact that recognizing and utilizing hidden talent could have on organizational effectiveness. The complexity of the cyber assault became more apparent as Sarah's analysis revealed multiple layers of deception and misdirection designed to confuse defensive responses and conceal the attacker's true objectives. Her recognition of these sophisticated psychological operations drew upon counterintelligence training that had taught her to identify and counter adversary deception techniques. The insights proved crucial for developing accurate threat assessments and appropriate response strategies that addressed both technical and psychological aspects of the attack. Dr. Warren began incorporating Sarah's analytical methods into the cybersecurity division's standard operating procedures, recognizing that the hybrid approach could enhance the effectiveness of routine threat analysis operations. The integration represented formal acknowledgement that Sarah's unique background provided valuable perspectives that complemented traditional cybersecurity training. Warren's actions established precedent for recognizing and incorporating diverse expertise into defense operations regardless of conventional career paths or educational backgrounds. The decrypted communications revealed that the cyber assault was being conducted by a sophisticated adversary with extensive resources and advanced capabilities that rivaled those of major nation-states. Sarah's analysis of operational patterns and communication protocols suggested that the attacking force included former military personnel and possibly defectors from American or allied intelligence services. The assessment had significant implications for counterintelligence operations and defensive planning that extended far beyond the immediate cybersecurity crisis. Sarah's success in penetrating the attackers' encryption schemes prompted requests for her assistance from other military installations that were experiencing similar intrusions. Her techniques were being shared through classified channels with cybersecurity teams across the defense establishment, multiplying the impact of her contributions beyond NORAD's immediate situation. The recognition at national level provided definitive validation of her expertise and established her reputation within the broader defense cybersecurity community. The investigation uncovered evidence that the cyber assault was part of a long-term strategic campaign designed to systematically compromise American defense capabilities through coordinated cyber operations. Sarah's analysis of the attacker's methodology revealed a patient, methodical approach to intelligence gathering and network penetration that reflected years of planning and preparation. Her insights helped defensive planners understand that they were facing sustained campaigns rather than isolated incidents, requiring comprehensive response strategies that addressed long-term security challenges. The professional relationships Sarah developed during the crisis response provided her with a network of contacts and mentors who recognized her potential and were committed to ensuring her talents were properly utilized in the future. Dr. Warren's mentorship proved particularly valuable, providing guidance on navigating defense establishment, bureaucracy, and identifying opportunities for professional advancement. The support network represented dramatic change from the isolation and dismissal she had experienced during her routine assignment period. Sarah's emergence as a key figure in the cybersecurity response demonstrated the value of maintaining organizational cultures that could adapt quickly to recognize and utilize talent regardless of its source or conventional qualifications. Her success proved that effective crisis response required flexibility and openness that transcended normal hierarchical structures and procedural limitations. The lessons learned during the investigation would influence approaches to talent management and professional development throughout the defense establishment for years to come. The moment Sarah took operational control of NORAD's cyber defense response marked a dramatic shift in both her career trajectory and the installation's approach to combating sophisticated threats. Dr. Warren's decision to place Sarah in charge of the active countermeasure operations represented an unprecedented elevation of responsibility that reflected both the severity of the crisis and recognition of her unique qualifications. The announcement sent ripples throughout the command structure, as personnel who had barely acknowledged her existence 48 hours earlier now found themselves taking orders from the woman they had dismissed as the IT girl. Sarah's first action as operational commander was to establish a comprehensive defensive strategy that integrated traditional cybersecurity measures with unconventional tactics drawn from her military experience. Her approach emphasized understanding the adversaries' operational psychology and exploiting their assumptions about American defensive capabilities. Rather than simply reacting to the attacker's moves, she began implementing proactive measures designed to disrupt their operational timeline and force them into tactical errors that would reveal additional intelligence about their capabilities and objectives. The command center transformed under Sarah's leadership into a sophisticated cyber warfare operations hub that resembled the joint intelligence centers she had operated in Afghanistan. Multiple workstations displayed real-time network monitoring data, threat intelligence feeds, and tactical analysis products that provided comprehensive situational awareness of the ongoing cyber battle. Sarah's organizational approach emphasized rapid information sharing and collaborative decision-making that maximized the collective expertise of the diverse team now under her command. Her technical expertise became fully apparent as she began implementing countermeasures that demonstrated mastery of advanced cybersecurity principles combined with innovative tactical thinking. Sarah developed custom monitoring algorithms that could detect the attacker's sophisticated evasion techniques, created honeypot systems designed to trap and analyze malicious code, and established secure communication channels that bypassed potentially compromised network infrastructure. Her solutions reflected a deep understanding of both defensive cybersecurity and offensive operations that allowed her to anticipate and counter the adversaries' most sophisticated techniques. The psychological aspect of Sarah's approach proved particularly effective against opponents who had expected to face conventional defensive responses. Her background in military intelligence operations had taught her to think like an adversary, understanding how hostile forces planned and executed complex operations under pressure. She began implementing deception measures designed to confuse the attackers about NORAD's actual defensive capabilities, feeding them false information through compromised channels, while protecting legitimate operations through alternative security measures. Working directly with the NSA's elite cyber warfare specialists who had been deployed to assist with the crisis, Sarah found her tactical innovations being adopted by some of the most experienced cyber operators in the American intelligence community. The collaboration provided validation that her unique approach to cyber warfare had value beyond the immediate crisis and potential applications for broader national security operations. The NSA representatives began documenting her techniques for potential incorporation into advanced training programs and operational doctrine. Sarah's real-time battle management skills became evident as she coordinated simultaneous defensive operations across multiple network segments while maintaining oversight of intelligence collection and analysis activities. Her ability to process complex technical information quickly and make sound tactical decisions under extreme pressure reflected combat experience that couldn't be replicated in training environments. The multitasking capabilities that had kept communication networks operational during firefights in Afghanistan now proved essential for managing cyber warfare operations of unprecedented complexity. The attackers' response to Sarah's countermeasures revealed that they had underestimated both her capabilities and NORAD's defensive potential. Their attempts to counter her innovations demonstrated tactical flexibility, but also exposed additional attack vectors and methodologies that provided valuable intelligence for the broader investigation. Sarah's ability to turn the adversaries' adaptation efforts into intelligence collection opportunities demonstrated sophisticated understanding of how to exploit opponent psychology during extended operations. Dr. Warren observed Sarah's operational leadership with growing appreciation for the transformation that military experience could provide in cybersecurity contexts. The decisiveness, tactical thinking, and ability to maintain focus under pressure that characterized Sarah's approach differed markedly from the methodical, process-oriented methods typically emphasized in civilian cybersecurity training. Warren began developing recommendations for recruiting and training programs that would incorporate military perspectives into civilian cybersecurity operations. The scope of Sarah's responsibilities expanded as the investigation revealed connections between the NORAD attack and similar intrusions affecting military installations throughout North America. Her tactical innovations were being adapted for defensive operations at other facilities, with her direct involvement requested for the most challenging aspects of the coordinated response. The recognition of her expertise at the national level provided definitive proof that her contributions transcended local crisis management and had strategic significance for American cybersecurity operations. Sarah's development of custom analytical tools demonstrated programming capabilities that complemented her tactical expertise and enhanced the effectiveness of defensive operations. Her software solutions incorporated machine learning algorithms that could identify subtle attack patterns, automated response systems that could implement countermeasures faster than human operators, and intelligence correlation tools that revealed connections between seemingly unrelated cyber activities. The technical innovations reflected a deep understanding of both cybersecurity principles and operational requirements that few specialists possessed. The command center's atmosphere evolved under Sarah's leadership from crisis response to confident Operational management, as her strategies began producing measurable results against the sophisticated attackers. Personnel who had initially questioned her qualifications now sought her guidance on technical and tactical matters, recognizing that her unique background provided insights that conventional training couldn't replicate. The transformation in team dynamics reflected broader changes in how the defense establishment viewed the relationship between military experience and cybersecurity expertise. Sarah's tactical approach to cyber warfare emphasized the importance of maintaining initiative and forcing adversaries to react to defensive actions rather than simply responding to attack activities. Her offensive-minded defensive strategy reflected military doctrine, emphasized seizing and maintaining tactical advantage through aggressive action and psychological pressure. The approach proved particularly effective against opponents who had planned their operations around assumptions about passive American defensive responses. The investigation revealed that Sarah's countermeasures had disrupted the attackers' operational timeline and forced them to abandon several planned phases of their campaign. Her ability to anticipate and counter sophisticated attack techniques had degraded the adversary's effectiveness and provided crucial time for broader defensive measures to be implemented across the defense network. The tactical success demonstrated the value of integrating military operational principles into cybersecurity strategy and tactics, working with federal cybersecurity agencies and military commands across North America. Sarah found her local innovations being adapted for broader defensive applications that extended far beyond NORAD's immediate situation. Her techniques were being incorporated into defensive protocols that would protect critical infrastructure and military installations from similar sophisticated attacks. The strategic impact of her contributions provided validation that recognizing and utilizing hidden talent could have effects that transcended individual organizations or crises. Sarah's management of the extended cyber warfare operation demonstrated leadership capabilities that impressed senior military and civilian officials who were observing the crisis response. Her ability to coordinate complex technical operations while maintaining strategic perspective and effective communication with diverse stakeholders reflected command potential that had been obscured by her routine assignment to support functions. The recognition of her leadership abilities opened possibilities for career advancement that would have been unimaginable before the crisis. The psychological pressure of commanding sophisticated cyber warfare operations while under intense scrutiny from senior leadership tested Sarah's resilience and adaptability in ways that validated her military training and combat experience. Her ability to maintain focus and make sound decisions while managing multiple complex technical challenges simultaneously demonstrated mental toughness that proved essential for success in high-stakes cybersecurity operations. The performance under pressure provided convincing evidence of her qualifications for advanced responsibilities and leadership positions. Dr. Warren's decision to document Sarah's operational methods and tactical innovations ensured that her contributions would influence cybersecurity doctrine and training programs throughout the defense establishment. The case study of her successful leadership during the crisis became required reading for advanced cybersecurity courses and leadership development programs. Warren's advocacy helped establish Sarah's reputation within the broader cybersecurity community and created opportunities for continued professional growth and advancement. Sarah's successful integration of military operational principles with advanced cybersecurity techniques demonstrated the potential value of cross-functional expertise in addressing complex modern security challenges. Her hybrid approach to cyber warfare reflected evolving requirements for defense professionals who could understand and operate effectively across traditional boundaries between military and civilian, offensive and defensive, and technical and tactical domains. The success provided proof of concept for personnel development strategies that emphasize diverse experience and adaptive thinking. the transformation of Sarah's role from overlooked support technician to operational commander of critical cyber defense operations represented a dramatic validation of merit-based leadership selection during crisis situations. Her success demonstrated that effective leadership could emerge from unexpected sources when organizational cultures maintained flexibility and openness to recognizing talent regardless of conventional qualifications or career paths. The lessons learned would influence military and civilian approaches to talent management and crisis response for years to come. Sarah's breakthrough came at 0347 hours on the third day of the crisis when her custom analytical algorithms detected an anomalous pattern buried deep within the attackers' network traffic that revealed the true scope of their operation. The discovery emerged from her innovative approach to correlation analysis, which combined traditional cybersecurity monitoring with signals intelligence techniques she had developed during counterintelligence operations in Afghanistan. What appeared to be routine data exfiltration was actually a sophisticated cover for a much more sinister objective: the systematic mapping and potential sabotage of America's entire early warning and missile defense infrastructure. The revelation struck the command center like a thunderbolt as Sarah's analysis revealed that the cyber assault was not merely espionage, but preparation for a coordinated attack on continental defense systems. Her decryption of the attackers' communications had uncovered detailed plans for disrupting radar networks, communication systems, and missile interceptor capabilities during a specific operational window that coincided with planned military exercises. The timing was not coincidental. The adversaries had studied American training schedules and had identified the optimal moment when defensive attention would be divided between exercise activities and routine operations. Dr. Warren immediately escalated Sarah's findings to the highest levels of military and civilian leadership as the implications became clear. The intercepted intelligence indicated that the cyber assault was the opening phase of a coordinated campaign that could potentially blind America's early warning systems and create vulnerabilities that hostile forces could exploit for strategic advantage. Sarah's analysis suggested that the attackers possessed detailed knowledge of continental defense architectures and had developed specific countermeasures designed to neutralize American defensive capabilities at critical moments. The evidence Sarah had compiled painted a picture of unprecedented sophistication and coordination that extended far beyond traditional cybercrime or even routine espionage activities. Her technical analysis revealed that the attackers had developed custom malware tools specifically designed to target unique vulnerabilities in military-grade defense systems, suggesting access to classified technical specifications and possibly insider knowledge of system configurations. The level of preparation and specialization indicated state-level resources and planning that represented a direct threat to national security. General Hawkins convened an emergency session of the National Security Council via secure video conference, with Sarah presenting her findings directly to the highest levels of government leadership. Her briefing detailed the technical evidence that revealed the attackers' true objectives, while explaining the tactical implications for continental defense operations. The presentation demonstrated her ability to communicate complex technical information to senior decision-makers while maintaining focus on strategic implications rather than technical details. Sarah's analysis of the attackers' operational timeline revealed that the cyber assault was coordinated with other intelligence activities that had been ongoing for months across multiple government agencies and defense contractors. Her correlation of network intrusion patterns with known espionage activities provided crucial insights that helped federal investigators understand the comprehensive nature of the threat facing American security infrastructure. The intelligence synthesis demonstrated analytical capabilities that transcended traditional cybersecurity roles and approached strategic intelligence assessment. The investigation revealed that the cyber attackers had specifically targeted Sarah's Discovery of their operations. Implementing sophisticated countermeasures designed to prevent exactly the type of analysis she had conducted. Their failure to anticipate her unique analytical approach and military background had created the vulnerability that allowed her to penetrate their operational security and expose their true objectives. The tactical error provided insights into the attackers' assumptions about American defensive capabilities and highlighted the value of unconventional approaches to threat analysis. Working with emergency response teams from multiple federal agencies, Sarah coordinated the implementation of comprehensive countermeasures designed to protect critical defense infrastructure from the planned assault. Her recommendations included temporary isolation of vulnerable systems, implementation of alternative communication protocols, and deployment of enhanced monitoring capabilities that could detect and counter the sophisticated attack techniques the adversaries had developed. The defensive measures reflected a deep understanding of both technical vulnerabilities and operational requirements for maintaining defensive readiness. The scope of the conspiracy became apparent as Sarah's continued analysis revealed connections between the cyber assault team and hostile intelligence services that had been monitoring American defense activities for years. Her identification of communication patterns and operational signatures provided evidence of coordination between multiple adversary organizations that had pooled resources and expertise to conduct the sophisticated campaign. The intelligence revelations prompted immediate counterintelligence investigations and diplomatic responses at the highest levels of government. Sarah's tactical innovations during the crisis response had not only exposed the attackers' true objectives, but had also disrupted their operational timeline and forced them to abandon critical phases of their planned assault. Her countermeasures had degraded their intelligence collection capabilities and eliminated several key access points that would have been essential for implementing their sabotage objectives. The defensive success provided crucial time for broader security measures to be implemented across the defense establishment. The psychological impact of Sarah's success extended beyond the immediate tactical victory to demonstrate the vulnerability of sophisticated adversaries to unexpected defensive innovations. Her ability to penetrate their operational security and expose their plans had shattered their assumptions about American defensive capabilities and forced them to reassess their entire approach to cyber operations against military targets. The strategic implications of her success would influence adversary planning and defensive doctrine for years to come. Dr. Warren's detailed documentation of Sarah's analytical methods and tactical innovations ensured that her contributions would be preserved and disseminated throughout the cybersecurity community. The case study of her successful detection and disruption of the sophisticated attack became required study material for advanced cybersecurity training programs and strategic planning courses. Warren's advocacy helped establish new analytical frameworks that incorporated military perspectives into civilian cybersecurity operations. The federal investigation that followed Sarah's revelations uncovered a network of compromised personnel and systems that extended throughout the defense establishment and related civilian infrastructure. Her initial discovery had exposed just the visible portion of a comprehensive intelligence operation that had been systematically mapping American defensive capabilities and identifying vulnerabilities that could be exploited during conflict situations. The broader investigation validated her assessment that the threat represented strategic rather than tactical challenges to national security. Sarah's emergence as a central figure in exposing and countering the sophisticated threat earned recognition from the highest levels of military and civilian leadership. Her contributions were being studied by strategic planners and intelligence analysts who were developing long-term responses to the evolving cybersecurity challenges facing modern defense operations. The recognition transcended immediate crisis response to establish her reputation as an innovative thinker whose insights had strategic value for national security planning. The success of Sarah's unconventional approach to cyber warfare demonstrated the importance of maintaining diverse perspectives and analytical capabilities within defense organizations. Her military background had provided unique insights that conventional cybersecurity training couldn't replicate, while her technical expertise had enabled implementation of innovative solutions that traditional military approaches might have missed. The hybrid capabilities proved essential for addressing complex, modern threats that transcended traditional boundaries between military and civilian domains. The investigation revealed that the attackers had specifically studied American cybersecurity doctrine and training programs to develop countermeasures that could defeat conventional defensive responses. Sarah's success had demonstrated the vulnerability of sophisticated adversaries to analytical approaches that didn't conform to their expectations about American capabilities. Her innovative techniques provided proof of concept for defensive strategies that emphasized unpredictability and adaptive thinking rather than standardized procedures. Sarah's coordination of the broader defensive response had demonstrated leadership capabilities that impressed senior military commanders and civilian officials who were evaluating personnel for advanced responsibilities. Her ability to manage complex technical operations while maintaining strategic perspective and effective communication with diverse stakeholders reflected command potential that had been obscured by routine assignments. The recognition opened possibilities for career advancement that would maximize her contributions to national security operations. The strategic intelligence that Sarah's investigation had produced provided crucial insights for diplomatic and military responses to the threat posed by sophisticated adversary capabilities. Her analysis had revealed not only technical vulnerabilities, but also operational patterns and organizational relationships that informed broader understanding of adversary intentions and capabilities. The intelligence contributions extended far beyond cybersecurity to influence strategic planning and policy development at the highest levels of government. The transformation of a routine cybersecurity incident into a national security crisis had validated Sarah's persistent advocacy for enhanced threat analysis and defensive innovation. Her early recognition of the sophisticated nature of the attack had provided crucial lead time for implementing comprehensive countermeasures that prevented potentially catastrophic damage to continental defense capabilities. The vindication of her analytical judgment established her credibility as a strategic thinker, whose insights deserved serious consideration by senior leadership. Dr. Warren's formal recommendations for Sarah's permanent assignment to advanced cybersecurity positions reflected recognition that her unique qualifications represented valuable assets that should be properly utilized for ongoing national security operations. The recommendations emphasized her proven capabilities under extreme pressure and her innovative approaches to complex technical challenges that had produced results when conventional methods failed. Warren's advocacy helped ensure that Sarah's talents would be recognized and developed rather than relegated to routine support functions. The broader implications of Sarah's success extended beyond individual recognition to demonstrate the value of maintaining organizational cultures that could identify and utilize talent, regardless of conventional qualifications or career paths. Her transformation from overlooked technician to national security asset provided compelling evidence that effective leadership and innovation could emerge from unexpected sources when institutions maintained flexibility and openness to diverse perspectives and approaches. The transformation of Sarah's life began with a phone call from the Pentagon 3 weeks after the crisis had been resolved. The voice on the other end belonged to Deputy Secretary of Defense Catherine Morrison, whose reputation for identifying and developing exceptional talent was legendary throughout the defense establishment. Morrison's invitation was unprecedented. A direct appointment to the newly created position of Director of Adaptive Cybersecurity, a role that would give Sarah authority over innovative threat response programs across all military branches. The position represented not just career advancement, but fundamental recognition that her unique approach to cyber warfare had strategic value for national defense. Sarah's first major initiative in her new role was the establishment of the Hidden Talent Integration Program, designed to identify and develop cybersecurity expertise from unconventional sources throughout the military and civilian workforce. Her experience of being overlooked despite her qualifications had convinced her that similar talent was being wasted across the defense establishment, waiting for opportunities to contribute to critical missions. The program implemented systematic reviews of personnel records, established mentorship networks, and created pathways for rapid advancement based on demonstrated capability rather than traditional credentials. The program's first success story emerged within 6 months when Marine Corps Sergeant Maria Santos, a communications specialist with a background in computer science, identified and neutralized a sophisticated malware attack on military logistics networks. Santos had been performing routine maintenance duties despite her advanced technical education, following a pattern that mirrored Sarah's own experience. Her rapid elevation to cybersecurity analyst demonstrated that the systemic issues Sarah had faced were widespread and that addressing them could multiply the defense establishment's cybersecurity capabilities. Sarah's innovative analytical frameworks were being adopted by cybersecurity organizations throughout the federal government. As her methods proved effective against increasingly sophisticated threats, the hybrid approach she had developed, combining military operational principles with advanced technical analysis, became the foundation for new training curricula at the National Defense University and the NSA's advanced cybersecurity programs. Her influence extended beyond individual techniques to reshape fundamental approaches to threat assessment and defensive strategy. The international cybersecurity community took notice of Sarah's contributions when she was invited to address the Global Cybersecurity Summit in Geneva, where she presented her analytical methods to representatives from allied nations facing similar sophisticated threats. Her presentation emphasized the importance of diverse perspectives and unconventional approaches in addressing state-sponsored cyber warfare, drawing upon her experience to illustrate how traditional security thinking could be vulnerable to adaptive adversaries. The international recognition established her reputation as a thought leader whose insights had global relevance. Dr. Warren, now serving as Sarah's deputy in the Adaptive Cybersecurity Directorate, had become one of her closest collaborators and strongest advocates within the defense establishment. Their partnership demonstrated how effective mentorship could accelerate professional development and maximize individual contributions to organizational success. Warren's support had been crucial during Sarah's transition from crisis responder to strategic leader, providing guidance on navigating complex bureaucratic environments while maintaining focus on operational effectiveness. The ripple effects of Sarah's success extended throughout NORAD and beyond as her story became a catalyst for broader changes in how the military identified and developed talent. Personnel offices began implementing new evaluation criteria that emphasized problem-solving ability and adaptive thinking alongside traditional qualifications. Training programs incorporated case studies of Sarah's analytical methods and leadership approach, using her experience to illustrate principles of innovation and excellence under pressure. Sarah's mother, now living comfortably in a retirement community in Colorado Springs, had become a regular visitor to the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, where she was treated with the respect due to the family of a national security hero. The medical care that Sarah's military benefits and increased salary provided had eliminated the financial stress that had characterized their relationship for years. Their weekly dinners had evolved from conversations about survival and struggle to discussions of Sarah's growing influence and the positive changes she was implementing throughout the defense establishment. The classroom where Sarah now taught advanced cybersecurity analysis to senior military officers and civilian specialists was a far cry from the basement office where she had toiled in anonymity. The state-of-the-art facility featured the latest technology and attracted students from across the government and allied nations who sought to understand her innovative approaches to threat analysis. Her teaching emphasized practical application of analytical principles rather than theoretical knowledge, drawing upon real-world case studies that illustrated how unconventional thinking could produce breakthrough insights. Chen, the young IT specialist who had first listened to Sarah's insights during the crisis, had become one of her protégés and was now leading his own team of analysts within the Adaptive Cybersecurity Directorate. His career trajectory demonstrated how Sarah's influence was creating opportunities for other talented individuals who might otherwise have been overlooked by traditional advancement systems. The mentorship relationship reflected Sarah's commitment to developing the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. The documentary film about Sarah's role in exposing and defeating the sophisticated cyberattack had premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and was being distributed to military installations worldwide as training material. The film emphasized themes of perseverance, innovation, and the importance of recognizing talent, regardless of its source, using Sarah's story to illustrate broader principles about organizational effectiveness and leadership development. The Hollywood treatment had transformed her experience into inspiration for military personnel facing their own challenges with recognition and advancement. Sarah's influence on cybersecurity doctrine extended beyond the American defense establishment as allied nations began adopting her analytical frameworks and training methods. NATO cybersecurity exercises now included scenarios based on the attack she had defeated, with participants learning to apply her innovative approaches to simulated threats. The international adoption of her methods validated their effectiveness and established her reputation as a strategic thinker whose contributions had global significance. The Advanced Research Projects Agency had funded a comprehensive study of Sarah's analytical methods, seeking to understand how her unique background had produced insights that conventional cybersecurity training had missed. The research was being used to develop new approaches to talent identification and professional development that could be applied across government agencies and civilian organizations. The scientific validation of her intuitive methods provided evidence that effective cybersecurity required diverse perspectives and interdisciplinary approaches. Sarah's office in the Pentagon overlooked the Potomac River, providing a daily reminder of how far she had traveled from her humble beginnings as an overlooked technician in a basement office. The walls displayed commendations from senior military leaders, allied governments, and cybersecurity organizations that recognized her contributions to national and international security. The visible symbols of recognition represented validation, not just of her individual achievements, but of the broader principle that excellence could emerge from unexpected sources. The cybersecurity threat landscape continued to evolve as sophisticated adversaries adapted their techniques to counter the defensive innovations that Sarah had pioneered. Her ongoing work focused on staying ahead of emerging threats through continued development of analytical methods and training programs that emphasized adaptive thinking and innovative problem-solving. The dynamic nature of the cybersecurity challenge ensured that her contributions would remain relevant and valuable for years to come. Colonel Mitchell, now promoted to general and serving as Sarah's military liaison, had become one of her strongest supporters within the defense establishment hierarchy. His early recognition of her potential during the crisis had proven prescient, and his continued advocacy helped ensure that her programs received the resources and support necessary for success. The professional relationship demonstrated how effective leadership could recognize and develop talent even when it appeared in unexpected forms. The scholarship program that Sarah had established in her name provided educational opportunities for military personnel and veterans seeking to develop cybersecurity expertise. The program emphasized practical application and innovative thinking rather than traditional academic credentials, reflecting her belief that effective cybersecurity required diverse backgrounds and perspectives. The scholarships were creating pathways for individuals who might otherwise lack access to advanced education and training opportunities. Sarah's address to the graduating class at the National Defense University had become an annual tradition, with her emphasis on perseverance, innovation, and service inspiring new generations of military and civilian leaders. Her message consistently focused on the importance of remaining true to one's values while adapting to changing circumstances and challenges. The speeches had become legendary within the defense community for their combination of practical wisdom and inspirational vision. The transformation from the IT girl to Director of Adaptive Cybersecurity represented more than individual success. It demonstrated the potential for organizational cultures to evolve and improve through recognition and development of hidden talent. Sarah's journey had revealed systemic issues within the defense establishment while also providing solutions that could prevent similar waste of human resources in the future. Her story had become a case study in organizational learning and adaptive leadership that influenced policies and practices throughout the government. The legacy of Sarah's contributions extended beyond her immediate professional accomplishments to encompass broader changes in how American society valued and developed talent. Her success had challenged assumptions about conventional career paths and qualifications, demonstrating that excellence could emerge from diverse backgrounds and experiences. The cultural impact of her story continued to inspire individuals facing their own struggles with recognition and advancement, proving that persistence and competence could ultimately overcome institutional barriers and systemic bias. 5 years later, Sarah stood before a packed auditorium at MIT, the same institution she had once left to care for her mother. But this time, she wasn't a struggling student. She was delivering the keynote address as the newly appointed director of the National Cybersecurity Innovation Center. The irony wasn't lost on her as she looked out at eager faces in the audience, knowing that among them sat future defenders of America's digital frontier. "The greatest threats to our nation," Sarah began, her voice carrying the quiet confidence that had become her trademark, "are often detected not by the most credentialed experts, but by the most curious minds. The person sitting next to you, the janitor, the delivery driver, the overlooked technician, might be the one who saves us all." In the front row sat Jessica Kim, now a senior cybersecurity analyst, and Marcus Chen, who had just been promoted to deputy director. Behind them were dozens of graduates from the Hidden Talent program, each representing a story of potential finally recognized and developed. Sarah's phone buzzed with an alert from the monitoring system she had designed. Another sophisticated attack was beginning, this one targeting financial institutions. She smiled, knowing her team was ready. "Remember," she concluded, "expertise isn't always found where you expect it. Sometimes the most powerful code comes from the most unlikely hands." The standing ovation thundered through the auditorium as Sarah walked off stage, already planning her response to the emerging threat. The girl who had once been dismissed as the IT girl was now the architect of America's cyber defense future. What an incredible journey from overlooked to indispensable. Sarah's story proves that heroes come from the most unexpected places. Which part of her transformation inspired you most? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an incredible tale of hidden talent changing the world. Thanks for watching, and remember, you never know when your unique skills might be exactly what the world needs. Until next time, keep believing in the power of unexpected heroes.